Hey there. So this is how the US's next multi-trillion-dollar war was supposed to start. And this is also how the next couple decades were supposed to go. At some point in the 2030s or 2020s or even 2019, a whole bunch of American soldiers were supposed to die. That's what the US presence in Syria is all about, and that's why US soldiers were permanently stationed there in 2017. To die. Seriously, that's the policy here. Nobody has come out and said it directly, but folks from John Bolton to Mike Pompeo have made it very clear. Let me connect the dots. As of last week, the US troops were intended to be in Syria until Iran and Assad were not. As the past 7 years have made very clear, those guys aren't going anywhere without a full-on invasion. And a whole bunch of dead US soldiers is what Washington, D.C. needs to launch that invasion. Doesn't have to be all 2,000 to 4,000 of the American soldiers that are there, just a couple hundred would do the trick. It could be a spare missile from Iran or Russia, or maybe a concerted attack from Hezbollah or some other militia. Whatever. Dead Americans will give Washington, D.C.'s morons what they need to start the U.S.'s final war in the Middle East. Now, we haven't even begun paying for their last multi-trillion-dollar disasters yet. The wars in Iraq and Afghanistan represent a solid fifth to a third of U.S. national debt. So no matter how much MSNBC or Fox News may fantasize about invading Iran, we can't afford that sort of thing anymore. No, the U.S. war with Iran will be fought over the massed corpses of hundreds of thousands more dead Syrians and Iraqis. The first month or so will go great. U.S. defense contractors will make hundreds of billions of dollars. Chicken hawks from Jake Tapper to Max Boot will get exactly the sorts of images that they think U.S. power is made of. Everyone wearing an Iranian uniform in Iraq or Syria will be slaughtered, and only a few tens of thousands more innocent civilians will die in the crossfire. Assad and his whole family will die horribly in the streets, and whatever sociopath is U.S. president at that point will congratulate everyone for a job well done. Then the second month will start. Against Washington, D.C.'s predictions, the Iranian people will strangely fail to turn friendly after we kill all their sons in Syria. Iran's President Rouhani and anybody else who ever tried to negotiate with the United States will probably get the Assad treatment. Iran will finally become the massive state sponsor of terrorism that the U.S. has always claimed it was. If there's anything left of the Iraqi government, it will turn against us as well. The moderate jihadists in Syria who failed to unify to fight Assad will definitely unify to fight the U.S. occupiers. Sunni and Shia, Arab and Kurd, and probably even Turk. Everyone will get together to kill U.S. soldiers. Millions of civilians will die to kill tens of thousands of our soldiers. By the first year, we should be at Vietnam levels of casualties. The horror show will almost certainly spread to Lebanon, Jordan, and other countries. The EU will finally splinter completely under refugee flows that will dwarf those the United States created in 2015. The world will fall to pieces as the U.S. president feebly shouts at everybody that this is all Iran's fault. At some point, the madness will stop. Not because World War III will start, but because China, Japan, and what's left of Europe will finally stop buying U.S. debt. Forced to choose between Medicare and baby boomer power fantasies, the U.S. public will go with Medicare. The U.S. empire will evaporate. Our military forces will pull out of the Middle East, and then fiscal realities will require that it move out of Germany, Korea, Japan, and everywhere else as well. The other three branches of the U.S. military will be folded into the Coast Guard, in fact, if not in name. After yet another disastrous war, nobody will miss the U.S. military's international presence. Not at first, anyway. That's what was supposed to happen over the next couple decades, but last week, something funny happened. Donald Trump woke up and decided to pull out of Syria. Everybody in Washington, D.C. lost their minds, from CNN to Fox News, from Republican Lindsey Graham to Democrat Nancy Pelosi. All of Washington, D.C. thinks getting out of Syria is a terrible idea. Donald Trump is a lot of things, but he is not a creature of Washington, D.C. He sees U.S. troops in Syria for what they actually are. An invitation to a war the U.S. cannot afford, and an end to the U.S. ability to bully anybody. Donald Trump is not interested in giving away that power. The dark future I described in this video could still happen. All of Trump's generals and all of the adults in the room that are left are working hard to bring about this catastrophic war with Iran. It pains me to admit this, but on this topic, Donald Trump is right. And all of those hashtag resistance neocons are very, very wrong. You can debate whether or not this is a good thing, but if Donald Trump can pull this off, I think he may have just saved the American world order. I think the U.S. withdrawal from Syria, if it's allowed to happen, is an incredible thing for world peace, and I think it gives all of us a little more breathing space to build a better world. Donald Trump just gave the American people a Christmas present? Weird. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. And if you want a rationale for getting out of Syria that's based a little more in history than science fiction, you can click on this video here that I made 8 months ago. Thanks.